Okay, so this is just to look at getting motion back in our fingers. So if you've had anything happen to your hands in the past and then you've got to rehab your hands or your fingers, the one thing that gets chronically missed is that our control through our fingers is very much associated with control through our shoulder and our arm and our back functional lines as well as our front functional line. So doing these type of exercises with your fingers is kind of like you're missing out on the whole picture. So, and we also want to incorporate some of our core stabilizers because they stabilize the shoulder and that stabilizes the hand. So I've got a proprioceptive mat here, and so I can feel the texture on it because we want to wake up the sensory. We want input coming back into those fingers so it can shoot a signal to the brain to get movement going. So this is a textured mat, and what I'm going to do is I can just sort of feel my thighs through it. My feet are flat on the ground and I'm quite anchored, and then what I'm going to do is to turn those receptors and get some sensation input into the brain. I'm going to squeeze my thighs and come up, sitting up nice and tall, and then relax. Squeeze my thighs with my hands. Feel that sensation of the mat on my hands. So it feels, I've got texture on here. You may not be able to see it in the camera. Squeeze, come up nice and tall, and relax. Squeeze, and everything is kind of, I can even feel my feet turning on, and relax. And just keep going through that. So I'm really trying to get my fingertips back connected with the shoulder and back connected with the core, and then get everything in my body talking to each other to then start to get my hands moving again. After I've got some textured input or some input into my hands, then coming up and then maybe doing some spreading of your fingers, just to mobilize them out a little bit before you start going on to your next one. Maybe see if you can move each finger a little bit differently, just slowly side to side. That's it. So we just want a little bit of mobilization, but you definitely want the texture and the interlinking to the brain and the body first, then go into a bit of mobilizing. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to make all our tasks, all our movements task orientated, because the body has a better understanding of doing a task orientated drill. So I've just got my chair here, and in my chair I've got some balls. Preferably textured balls is what it would be great if you could have. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move my mat. Good if you've got your texture to pop the texture then on your feet. And I'm literally just going to reach forward, pick a ball out, squeeze it, pop it in my lap. Reach forward, pick a ball, squeeze it, pop it in my lap. Reach forward, pick it up, bring it back, and pop it in. And then if you're working on both hands, then pop it back with the other hand. Or if you're just working with one hand, pop it back, come back, pick it up, pop it back. And like I said, if you can get more textured balls that have a bit of texture rather than a smooth surface, then that's better. And you can kind of just go backwards and forwards. And this is integrating our fingers into our shoulder, into our core. And your brain is going, I have to pick up a ball, I have to put it here, rather than doing, 10 reps of something that is mind-numbingly boring, and the brain is kind of like, I don't know why I'm doing this, except it's just a movement. So that's a task orientated. The other one that I want to show you is something like with a pull noodle and then reaching out. So popping it back, picking it up, reaching it somewhere else, popping it back, grabbing hold of it, and then you might do a couple of reaches. So your hand has to then be here. You might open your hands up in between, reach somewhere else, reach somewhere else. And why we're doing this is then we're starting to get the hand, the fingertip, understanding different angles of the shoulder, so the hand has got strength no matter where the shoulder is going. So picking it up, and you might point to different objects. So point to the screen, point to the heater, point to the clock, And then once again, that gives your brain another task orientation to focus on, rather than it thinking it's just doing a bit of a boring repetition thing. So always make sure you're connecting texture, input sensation into our skin when you're doing your rehab movements. Always make it task orientated, so the brain is trying to complete something, not just 10 reps of whatever it is, because that will get your brain and your body connected a lot faster and get you more successful in your rehab. Thanks.